It's time to meet Clifton.
With your host, Ray Grabowski.
Here's Ray.
Hello, thanks once again for joining us, and welcome to Meet Clifton. My name is Ray, and this is my co-host, George. How you doing, George?
All right, how about
You
yourself?
look good? All out
my
for the last
show, I'm dressed up.
Good, like hold nothing back, right?
That's for sure.
Okay. This is a special episode of Meet Clifton tonight, and as it's the last episode of our second season, we're so proud to showcase a few of our favorite guests from the past. So sit tight, George and I will return, but first the two tones will play us into the past. Hit it, guys.
Heard some people talking just the other day.
Tonight on a very special Meet Clifton, we will be looking back at Doctor of Chiropractic and Kinesiology, Dr. Joseph LaCitra, Chairman of the Clifton Board of Adjustment, Mark Zucchino, and Clifton City Clerk, Nancy Ferrigno. With more music by the Two Tones. All this and much more on Meet Clifton.
Okay, welcome back. With me tonight is a special person, a good friend of mine, a chiropractor from Clifton. Welcome, Dr. Joe LaCitra.
George,
Thank you for coming, appreciate it.
Very nice seeing you tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming on. I know a lot of people have back problems, and I think one of the biggest problems I think today, and you hear it all the time, is sciatica. So for those of us that aren't familiar with the term, maybe you could explain sciatica.
Sure,
first.
sure. Many people suffer from sciatica, 30 million at any given time in the United States. I'm going to show you right now. George is going to hold this.
Here you go, George, you have a job.
Yeah, this is the human nervous system here. If you look at the brain controls everything that runs down the entire spine, arm pain, mid-thoracic pain, and down here is the bad guy that we're talking about tonight, the sciatic nerve. We have two of the sciatic nerves. If you look over here on this side, this is the red side, that's the one that's inflamed. People that have inflamed sciatic nerves really live a life of misery. There are many different things that happen with people with sciatica. They have difficulty standing, sitting, bending. They can't go to work. Tremendous economic strain on the cities, on the companies, and on the families. If you take this one here, George, please.
Sure.
Okay. What are some of the symptoms of sciatica? Some of the early warning signs, which I'm sure a lot of people out there have seen. The first thing you see is pulling down the leg. That's a sign that the sciatic nerve is starting to trigger. That's not a good sign. After that, the numbness and the tingling can come. People can actually not feel their leg. They'll come into my office many times and say, Doc, I can't feel my leg. And there's a loss of what they call motor control or the movement of that leg. That's a cause for great concern. And then there's the pain. Pain is generally really bad in sciatic patients. As I said before, people can't sit, they can't stand, they can't bend, they can't roll over in bed. They can't find a comfortable position. I'm sure many people have been there before.
Oh, sure. A lot of people suffer from sciatica. And I have a quick question, too, because you hear people say, you know, they're okay one day, and all of a sudden they say, oh, my sciatica is acting up. Does it come and go?
Yes, that's a great question. It can come and go. Depending on the etiology or the reason for the sciatica, it can come and go. A good clinician is going to determine what the etiology is or the origin of the sciatic condition, which will lead us to our next slide.
You're good at this, George.
George, you're excellent,
About time
George.
I'm good at something.
So when we look at the lumbar vertebrae over here, these sit on top of the sacrum. The sacrum is the hard bone in the middle of your behind back there, and this balances out the lumbar discs. L4 and L5 control the distribution of the sciatic nerve through that area, as well as S1, which is the sacral base. When people start to have sciatic conditions, the sacral base starts to move, putting pressure on the disc. I'm sure you've heard of people that have had disc problems.
Sure.
And
Plenty of people.
plenty of people, right? And there's two different types of disc problems. There's what we call a disc bulge. So if you imagine the disc as a jelly donut, the outer part of the jelly donut will swell. That's called the bulge. The inside, the red part, is called the nucleus pulposus. If that breaks through that jelly donut, that's known as a herniated disc. Very, very, very severe condition, really debilitating. I've had people literally carried into my office to get treatment for that. And I'm sure you've seen friends like that that just,
Sure.
they can't even walk.
Sure.
How do you treat this condition?
Yeah, I was going to ask that too.
Me too.
First, I'd like to know what causes it.
Okay,
What causes the sciatica?
okay, that's a great
You
question.
know,
Okay.
work related.
It can be work related, which is if you have construction workers or masons. I have a lot of masons I treat. Repetitive bending on that lumbar spine over there is really, really severe on the disc area. And some of these guys do it for 30, 40 years. There's times they would love to stop, but they can't because they're trying to take care of their families. I treat a lot of athletes, so you can have direct trauma right into the spine, especially football players, helmet to helmet. You see the hits they have. The football players today are bigger, they're faster, and they're stronger. I've been on the sidelines at St. Mary's, and some of the hits I've seen is just atrocious. You wonder how they get up. But if you don't straighten out the trauma initially, this will start to linger because the sacral base over here is going to start to move. When it moves, now the disc, which is over here in between the bones, is no longer in the center of gravity. And now you start to get wear and tear. And then you get degeneration, which is another cause of sciatica. A degenerative disc does not allow enough room for the nerve to come out. So these are the extreme things that you have to know as a clinician to what has to be fixed. Another cause is muscular impingement. So if you look at right here, this is called the piriformis muscle. So a lot of times people are treating the sciatic nerve from up in this area, and I, as a kinesiologist, can actually muscle test the piriformis to say, wait a second, it's not coming from here, it's actually coming from an entrapment, okay, of this muscle, which is right through the middle of your butt. And that's caused by a lot of times people, we sit all day long, we don't, we're sedentary. People that are long car rides. How many times when you get out of a car ride do you get out and you're very stiff? You get out of there like you're 85 years old. All right, so that's how do you treat it? What do we do? Okay, there's different methods of treatment.
Right.
One of the things we do is we put electric stim over the area initially to bring the inflammation down, generally about 15 minutes in duration. What is also advisable, and this is to the people at home, the minute you start to get back pain, start with ice. Okay, 20 minutes of ice over that area. A good chiropractor will start to balance out this spine to get the bones in place. And as a kinesiologist, I not only get the bones in place, but I also work on the different musculature. You have to know what muscles to fix. Okay, one of the main muscles that is really overlooked, okay, and this is not the best picture in the world, it's a little cloudy, but here is the lumbar spine again. If you look at this muscle right here, this is called the psoas muscle. This is the major flexor of your lumbar spine. When you go down,
Right.
this is what brings you down. If you've ever seen people with bad back pain,
Right.
you notice how they list to the side sometimes. It looks like they're walking to the side. That's psoas muscle spasm.
Okay, so we have a lot of information. I understand the back is an important issue. And I know we're not recommending or advocating any type of treatment, but we have a chiropractor and a kinesiologist here. What the message you want to leave the people tonight, if they have back problems, would be?
There is hope. You cannot live without hope.
Thanks for being on our show.
Thank you
Stay
very
tuned,
much.
We'll be right back.
Hello, Clifton and friends. Welcome to the updates. Well, I hope you've been outside enjoying the outdoor concerts. It started off with Botany Village on Friday and Saturday nights, and they'll continue through August. So go to the website, make sure that you do know who may be performing, might be one of your favorites. Then also Sunday nights, Maine Memorial Park has their outdoor concerts as well. So go to the website. They have different acts happening at the website so you can see who's performing. That is Sunday nights at 7:30. And the Clifton Car Show is happening September 9th at the Allwood Atrium, and that's at 2 Brighton Road. There'll be thousands of cars, classic cars, and antiques, and also some trucks. There's food, drinks, prizes, a 50-50. There'll be a DJ, so definitely stop over there. And that's September 9th on a Sunday. And let's not forget September 16th. That also is a Sunday. It's the ABA, which is the Athenia Business Association, Van Houten Avenue Street Fair. Loads of things to do, lots of vendors and music, bands are performing, and lots of rides for the children. So it's a great day out. It gets bigger and bigger every year. So please remember September 16th, Sunday, for the Van Houten Avenue Street Fair.
Hi everyone, just a reminder, City Greens Veggie Mobile will be at Clifton City Hall every Wednesday until mid-November from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. It'll be parked across from lot number 4. Also, just wrapping up the season, I always announce if there's any health screenings or other health-related events. So if you have any questions or if you want to know when these screenings or events are, please don't hesitate. You can call the Clifton Health Department. The main phone number is 973-470-5760. You can also check the website to stay updated, or even the Facebook page they have, or even their Instagram page. And also, last but not least, National Night Out will take place the first Tuesday in August, which is August 7th. It'll be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It'll be at Maine Memorial Park, which is located on Maine Ave, Paget Ave by the Maine Memorial Library, and also the Clifton Stadium. And also, it'll go until about 9 p.m., but at dusk they will start a movie, so please stop by.
So enjoy your summer, and hopefully we'll see you around town at least some of the events. Thank you so much for watching.
Hey, welcome back. My first guest is someone that I wanted to bring on for a while. I always like to have someone from Clifton government, or a function of a Clifton government, or someone that works for a board or something pertaining to Clifton itself. So my first guest is the chairman of the Board of Adjustments, Mr. Mark Sakino.
Thanks for coming, Commissioner.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for having me.
Mark Sakino is the chairman of the Board of Adjustments, and a lot of people at home watch these on TV. You know, they watch the zoning board, the Board of Adjustments, and they get confused on which board is which. So I would ask Mark, what is the zoning board?
Okay. It's an autonomous board made up of 7 full-time members and 2 alternates.
Okay.
And the 7 full-time members are appointed to 4-year terms, and the alternate members are appointed to 2-year terms. And we're all appointed by the mayor and council by majority vote. And what we do is we make decisions on zoning variances.
Okay, now, autonomous. Can you just explain autonomous? 'Cause
Yeah, in simple terms, it just means that we're independent, we're self-governing, we make our own decisions.
Okay, so those of us who know the Board of Adjustments, we know that when you come in front of Mark's board, you're coming for a variance. And a lot of people, you know, they don't own homes, or they just recently own homes. I think it's important to realize and understand exactly what the definition of variance is, which Mark will explain.
Well, what it means in basic language is just it's either a deviation or a waiver from the zoning variance.
So an exception.
Yeah, to the zoning ordinance.
To the
So an
zoning
exception.
ordinance, right.
That's
So if
correct.
you need something and it's not part of the ordinance, you technically grant an exception or variance.
Yes, a waiver or a deviation. So how it works is, like, in the city we have different zones.
Right.
We have commercial zones, industrial zones, residential zones. And there's certain ordinances that are permitted in each zone. And if you want to do something that's not permitted in that zone, you would have to apply for a variance.
Okay, so I guess we need some examples to really clarify what we're talking about. Give us some examples of why someone would come in front of the
Okay.
board.
Well, first let me just explain that there's 2 types of variances.
Okay.
Okay, there's area or bulk variances, which are called C variances, and there's use variances, which are called D variances.
Right.
And a C variance is basically if somebody is looking to put a higher fence in, they're not supposed to, or they want to put a deck in their backyard, and the lot coverage, it takes too much of the yard. You have driveways, or I'm trying to think of other other things like.
Well,
like
what about the fences? There's a ordinance for 5 foot, and that's what they have to put? They only can go to 5 foot, they would have
Well,
to come to you for a 6 foot.
Because a lot of people
Yeah.
come for fences,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, well, let's talk about fences. Simple fences in a residential zone. What happens is it's 4 foot, 50% open in front of a home, and once they get to the back of the home, they can go to 5 foot solid, the back sides and the back of the house. It can be 5 foot solid. If they want to go to a 6 foot, unless it was abutting a commercial property, if they want to go to 6 foot, then they would have to apply for a variance.
It has to be open,
No, on the front it has to be open, not in the back.
and the highest we go is 4?
4 foot in the front, 50% open. In the back, it could be 5
But I
foot.
can come to you and.
If you want to go
and
higher.
Yes,
yeah.
if I want to go higher.
You would
I
have to
come
apply. You would have to
Okay.
apply for a variance. That's
Right,
correct.
Then they would have to deem if
Right,
it's
right.
appropriate or not.
That is correct.
So how would someone know if they need a variance?
Well, the first thing that somebody should do is they should go to the building department
Okay.
and explain what they want to do. They go in there and they say, you know, I'm looking to put a fence up in my backyard. I want to put it up 6 foot high. And what the building department will tell them is, you know, one, you need a permit to
Permit,
do
yeah,
that,
that's what I'm
okay?
asking.
Either yes or
Permit.
no, and you need a permit. And two, what to do is they'll say, you need to go up to the zoning department to make sure that you conform to the zoning ordinance.
Okay.
So then what they'll do is they'll go to the zoning department, and they'll see Mr. Howell, who's the zoning officer, and he'll go over and he'll say either they conform or they don't conform. If they don't conform, then they can apply for a variance. Now that doesn't mean everybody gets a variance or is denied a variance.
Right.
That just means they apply for a variance.
So actually, they're coming in for a permit to do work on their house.
Correct.
Okay, and they may be allowed this permit, but if they're not, then they have to apply for a variance. So now they can't even get that permit until they visit your board.
Correct. And what they do then is then they put an application in
Right.
for the zoning board, and then at that they do the proper notification,
Yeah.
and then they at that date and time they show up to the zoning board, and when their name is called, they come up, and what they do is they explain what they want to do. You know, they'll tell them either their hardships or the reasons why they want that fence or whatever they
Right,
want,
right.
and then the board at that time can ask questions of the applicant, and then at the end we vote to either approve or deny that application.
Okay, and then of course, if you approve the variance, then they come back, then they get the permit.
Correct. Then what happens is the next meeting, we memorialize the resolution,
Right.
and then from that point, they can go to the building department and get the permits to do the work.
Right, so technically, it's a procedure. They come in and they're told, okay, no, you can't put this fence, you need a variance.
Correct.
So now they have to make application,
Correct.
notify.
Proper notification, which is in the paper 10 days before
Right.
before the meeting.
And certain neighbors.
200 feet.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Even for a fence?
Yes.
For any variance. So,
For any variance.
Right, so it's a pretty big procedure.
Yes.
Okay,
Really?
so I think we sort of understand what variances are, and you know, so it's a little helpful to people. The big thing here is, what if they build something and maybe they don't know that they need a variance, and they just build something arbitrarily and they put it up, and all of a sudden the inspector comes and says, "Hey, where's your permit?" So now what happens?
Right.
Is there some
Well,
repercussions?
you know, unfortunately, they open themselves up for fines and penalties.
Right.
And two, when they go to the building department to get that permit, at that time, the building department might tell them that they did not conform to the ordinance. Now they have to come in front of the zoning board and apply for a variance.
Right.
If they're denied that variance, they have to remove it or take it down. So it's a costly mistake. So it's something that you don't want to do. That's why I always say to the viewers, go to the building department, ask the building department, just tell them what you're interested in doing. They'll guide you right through it.
Right, so I think that's important that we learn this, because a lot of people come in, different towns, different countries have different rules and regulations. In Clifton, this is the rules and regulations, and there are ramifications if you do it wrong. So I think, like Mr. Zucchino said, if you want to do something, come to City Hall and ask if you can do it. And you go through these procedures, and if everything's fine, then it's worked out. You save yourself a lot of headaches and heartaches. So I'd like to thank Mark for coming on. I think we
Thank
learned
you.
a lot in a short period of time. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Sherry, Sherry baby, Sherry, Sherry baby, Sherry, Sherry baby, baby, Sherry baby, Sherry, can you come out tonight? Come out tonight.
welcome back. During the course of the show, Halloween is coming up in a couple of days, and I know the show airs this Friday, and Halloween will be next Monday, but then the show continues for about 2 weeks till the next one. So we'll have a few Halloween songs in between that the band, worked out for tonight. My first guest tonight is someone who kind of runs the city not runs it per se, but in a way that she has very important role in the city. And a lot of people always wonder what she does, so we have her here tonight. It's our city clerk. Welcome, Nancy Ferrigno.
Thank you for coming, Nancy. None.
Thanks, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. First question is, a lot of people would like to know, because the city goes through a few city clerks every now and then. We get a new one, and I think Nancy's been with us. I don't know how long you've been here with.
I've been here for about 3.5 years now.
Wow, time flies.
Oh, yes.
And who was the city clerk before you?
Barbara Nagy was, and I started as deputy clerk in Woodland Park, where I live, and this job was posted, the deputy clerk's job, and I was lucky enough to be appointed. And about a month later, Barbara Nagy, the clerk, retired and left, and I was appointed city clerk in June 2013.
Okay, so now the city clerk, it's an important job in the city because everything runs through her. So I think for the people at home, they'd like to know what the responsibilities of your job, city clerk, is.
Well, technically, I'm the secretary to the governing body.
Okay.
And with that, I prepare the agenda, and we do the minutes. I have a great staff that helps me out tremendously. My deputy clerk, Michelle, is fabulous. She's like my right-hand man. Carmen in our office does all our licensing. She does all our general licensing,
Right.
the florists, the bowling alleys, car lots, things of that, entertainment licenses, which is important. Michelle also does the liquor licenses
Right.
for all the establishments. Ron Liss is our records manager. He's fabulous. He does all the heavy-duty Oprah requests
Right.
for me. And we have Michelle Jasper, who's in the front, and she does a little of everything. Whatever we give her, she does, but we're responsible for a lot of the permits, garage sale permits, which is crazy in the summer, as you can imagine. All kinds of licenses.
Just out of
and
curiosity,
permits.
how many garage sales are you allowed? I know some people try to have many, but I know
let me
that
give
there's
you
a
this.
restriction,
Okay, you're allowed 2 per year.
2 per year.
We give you a date, we give you a rain date. If you don't have your garage sale for some reason, you must call us the week after, the
Right.
Monday after, to reschedule it. If not, you have to take out another permit, they're $10 each. No signs are to be posted anywhere in the city.
Right, that's important, because people put.
very important.
They're not allowed to be.
They're all over.
No.
What is
On
the,
telephone poles.
Telephone poles and trees. What the people don't realize is they think they could sneak and put them up.
Right.
They don't realize that the police are out there on the weekends taking them down. We'll mail them a ticket for $150, I believe is the amount, and they have to come to court. And we get a lot of irate
Right.
residents because they didn't know that. We
Yeah, because that's
explain
important
it
to
to
know.
them.
I know, because at one point, I think there were people actually buying goods other places and opening up shop
Yeah.
in the town. I know they cracked down on that, so it's good to know that they're allowed only 2.
Right. But as I said, we do a lot of the permits and the licensing, the agenda, the minutes.
George, do you have?
What about getting married?
That's registrar. That's a whole nother.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah,
we'll
that's
get
a-
on.
Yeah,
we'll-
that's a whole nother
Okay,
issue,
so that's a
but-
question we're gonna talk to you about when we talk about the registrar. So let's just finish. I know you had a few more things you wanted to add.
A very big part of our jobs are the election. As you know, we run the
Oh, right,
elections.
Yes.
And there's a lot of preparation in that. We're here, Michelle and I are here at 4:45 on election day. We're not getting out until about 10 o'clock at night. And so it's a very busy and long day.
How does the poll clerks know what school to go to? Has it already been assigned to them?
That's the Board of Elections in the county. They sign up with the Board of Elections, he sends them to a class, and then they are the poll workers. And then I have 4 head poll workers, and they pretty much oversee all
Like
the
a-
polling in the
Like
city.
a challenges
Yeah.
or something?
So we have an election coming up anyhow.
Yeah, November the
within
8th.
Another week. So you're here till the end of the night when all the votes are
Oh, yeah.
tabulated?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so that's part of your job
Oh,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so besides fees and the elections, now you're also responsible as a registrar.
Yes.
So maybe you can explain that, because I don't think George knows.
We have, we have birth, marriage, and death records in our vault from the beginning of Clifton, back to 1917. They're all permanent records. So anyone that is a resident of Clifton, wants to get married, they come to our office and they fill out an application. We give them their license. They can go anywhere in the state of New Jersey to get married. Then they'll usually come back and get a certificate stating that they're married. Birth certificates, we don't have too many because we don't have a hospital.
Right, because most of the people were born in
Right,
Passaic.
right.
And so the records would be in Passaic County or Passaic.
Yeah, wherever they were born,
Okay.
that's where the records are.
Right.
Just like wherever you get married, that's where the marriage record is. Some people come to Clifton and they will apply here,
Right.
get married, say in Moonachie, and come back here for their record. We don't have it,
Okay.
okay? Death certificates is another thing.
Will you perform the marriage for them if they
Me?
wanted you?
No.
Oh, no?
I wouldn't do that to anybody.
Okay.
We're gonna keep that in mind in case, I ever get married as George.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it.
That's a
I
judge's
want you.
job, not mine.
She'll try to talk
Because I
us
know the mayor used to do it.
He used to, yes.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
out. They can, mayors can marry.
Yes.
They can.
Yeah.
And or city judges can also marry.
Yes.
All right, so you see, we have a lot of responsibility, city clerk. I think we only mentioned a few things, but to get, this is our starter kit, Clifton starter kit.
Yeah, really.
So we introduce everyone little at a time, and as we get more information, we'll bring people back like Nancy when we have different things coming up that we need the public to know. So Nancy, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, that'll do it for another episode of Meet Clifton. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If this is the last one, we're going to take a short hiatus until the beginning of next year. So in the meantime, we're going to...
Ray.
Yes, Craig.
We have everybody here, and you're going to do this so
You're right,
unceremoniously?
He's right, Ray.
No,
He's right.
You're right, you're right. We've been doing a show for 2 years without any interruption, and we have a great cast and crew. We have Liz, we have George, Craig, Pat, Joey, Diane, Sharon, Lisa, and Lauren. I'm only kidding. We like to tease Lauren a lot. We had a lot of fun in 2 years. We met a lot of people. We've had some great interviews. I think the people that have stopped us on the streets have said how much they've learned about Clifton and how much they didn't realize how much Clifton has to offer. So we're hoping when we come back next season, we can even bring you more interviews with a lot more people to show you how great Clifton really is.
And by the way, we've had a lot of fun doing this, guys, so thank you very much.
Yeah, we
It's
did.
been
But
a team effort.
yes, it was. We had a lot of fun. But in the meantime,
Be good to your friends and family. Respect your neighbors, and keep Clifton close to your heart. This is a great city.
thank you, God bless, and good night.